What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO's down 1.76%, 470 for the low, 480 for the high, and you're seeing roughly around 8.6 million shares being traded. 54.2 is the average. So today is going to be a little bit low for the volume. No data points coming out on a macro standpoint that's really moving NIO today. Rather, it is this. So the weekly registration numbers came in at 5,000 for the group, 200 for Fireflies, so a little bit on the low end for that, 1550 for Envo, so similarly a little bit more of a reduction week over week. On a positive note, you did have 3250 for NIO, so that's improving because last week was 2500, so very nice improvement for that. But nonetheless, I feel like a lot of people still are not satisfied with these numbers. Let me know your general thoughts on that. On a positive thing, I did see this, so I think there's a lot of high expectations for the L90 just based on the level of demand, but I guess the actual test drives are going very well. In fact, that it's going all the way up until like 2 a.m. So I don't know who would actually wait up until 2 a.m. to do a test drive, but based on this article, it goes to show that there is an overwhelming amount of demand. So hopefully that will really help in the foreseeable future, obviously in August and whatever else. But aside from all that fun stuff, you are seeing shorts increasing 2.16 million shares. So as I mentioned, roughly around 8 million shares have been traded, 2 of which are associated to shorts. So shorts are making up for a pretty big chunk of the overall volume today. 11.45% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 176.68 million shares overall are being shorted. As far as options go, a little bit on the low end for dollar value, kind of matching with the common stock, but 969,000 in calls, 134,000 in puts. 56% of all the options being done today though are optimistic and bullish in nature. I'm sure given just the overall volume and what shorts are doing, some of that could be them hedging just in case NIO does really kind of gain some momentum and gets back above $5. But I think at this stage in the game, you need a inflow of capital. And that's one thing that we've seen, how NIO can really move up very easily, in fact, just with a small amount of buying. But today, we're not really seeing all that much. So far, no transactions on the secondary market. Dark pool, very limited. And I'm sure given what shorts are doing, a lot of that is associated to them. But moving over back to the options, looking at the bulls standpoint, you see a consensus still for it to be above $5. So between 5 and 550. So, and good level of optimism still on the table. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 5. So given where we're at, a little bit more evenly divided. With it right now though at 475, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. 458 is going to be a strong support. And aside from that though, you did have that 486. That was going to be kind of that line in the sand. If it was unable to hold that, then most likely you'll see that 458 in the next little bit, unless there is a good catalyst that does come out. But the only thing that might be coming out would be their monthly numbers, and that's coming out on Friday. So potentially things might get worse before they get better. As you can kind of see from my watch list, a lot of stocks are selling off. A lot of companies are unveiling the earnings, flopping, really giving bad future guidance. So again, that's obviously attributing to just the broader fear. So far today, there hasn't been any new analyst ratings, no real articles coming out aside from what I kind of brought up. So right now, I think we're just waiting on now the next big catalyst being their monthly numbers. But on the actual chart, you are seeing a certain level of consolidation. So it is below that ALMA. One key point to really watch for, most likely won't be touched at least in the first half of this week. Again, worst case scenario is that 200-day moving average, and that is sitting at 432. So again, I think NIO has done a lot of good things over the last 2 weeks and started to get attention from big money. But if you start to pull that volume, then this is where you kind of get manipulation rushing back in. So just watch for overall a lot of the key support levels that I did mention to hold alongside that 200-day moving average at 432. One thing as well, because of the recent, I guess, consolidation and also volatility over the last couple of trading days. You see stochastic RSI finally breaking off of that overbought status, so that could really stand to benefit it in the next little bit. So keep in mind on a macro standpoint as well, we do have manufacturing data on Wednesday and Thursday, so that could really push a lot of Chinese stocks higher as what has it's done in the past. So let me know your general thoughts on NIO. I know these weekly numbers are somewhat mixed, so some good, some bad, such as Firefly and Onvo, but do you think overall this is positive? And ideally, if you were wanting to see weekly registration numbers, where would they be at? Would you want them more at that 10,000 or a little bit higher? Of course, I think at the same time, a lot of people have just high expectations because of NIO, so they're kind of to blame for that. They always set very high kind of benchmarks for themselves and milestones, and if they don't live up to it, then people start to freak out. So let me know your general thoughts on NIO. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What's your kind of viewpoint? And do you think L90 will be the saving grace for NIO ultimately? So yeah, because I think in general that's been one attributing factor why it's actually moved up a lot recently. And if there is truly test drives up until, and people are waiting up until 2 a.m., I think that is huge, very huge news. I've not seen that occur with any other kind of vehicle out there. So yeah, let me know your general thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.